The story opens with a tense standoff where someone gets arrested, but then we pivot to the player yapping about wanting to leave his hometown. He thinks he is ready for the real world, treating the martial arts life like a video game he is trying to speedrun. His confidence is honestly aspiring, even if he is totally clueless about the dangers ahead. Ruby tries to wake the player up, claiming a mysterious guy in black robbed them of a jade pendant. The player is completely gaslighting her, insisting it was just a dream so she does not freak out. They end up distracted by shopping for storybooks, proving that retail therapy is apparently the universal solution to trauma. The player gets into a scrap with a guy named Divine Might and absolutely destroys him. Then this shady merchant, Old Jin, tries to scam them with a hero starter pack, selling literal chicken eggs as mystical beast eggs. The audacity of this man is actually kind of respectable, but they are not falling for the grift. After exposing the merchant's scam, the player gets a prize that turns out to be legitimate forged metal. Ruby is living her best life with the loot, while the player starts suspecting the man in black who stole the pendant is connected to his missing Uncle Jiang. The plot is finally starting to thicken. We meet Madame Han, who has major boss energy. She shuts down the player's dreams of leaving Heaven's Pier faster than a mod banning a troll. She is clearly hiding something huge about Uncle Jiang's disappearance, acting super suspicious whenever the topic comes up. The family drama is definitely brewing under the surface. This guy, Killer Blade, shows up with zero chill, demanding to see Han Sung-soon. He is injured, but still trying to act tough, which is a bold strategy. The player tries to de-escalate the situation, but Blade is on a warpath, claiming he keeps his word while threatening to wipe everyone out if he does not get answers. The player snoops around Aunt Han's room and finds evidence suggesting she is connected to a guy named Chu. It looks like a classic case of hidden identities and past drama resurfacing. Blade catches him in the act, and they form a very reluctant, chaotic duo to find Han, realizing they might have a common enemy. They realize some goons are hunting Aunt Han, and Blade goes into full tactical mode. He criticizes the enemy's formation like a pro gamer watching a Bronze League match. He decides they need to split up and take out the threats quietly, proving he is actually cracked at combat despite his earlier injuries. Aunt Han gets caught but is more annoyed than scared, proving her Asian parent energy is unmatched. She scolds the player for getting involved while tied up. Blade interrogates her about a secret left by Zhang Wulong, but Han stonewalls him with pure sass, refusing to give up the information easily. Aunt Han decides the heat is too much and plans to move the whole village, which feels like a massive overreaction. The player is not having it, though. He decides it is finally time to leave the nest, realizing that staying put means living with regret forever. He is ready to touch grass in the real world. Hi there. If you want to enjoy more gaming lore without grinding for 60 hours, hit that subscribe button. I do the grinding so you don't have to. Your support really helps the channel. The player teams up with Blade, officially entering his adventure arc. They bond over their shared confusion about Uncle Jiang's legacy. The player leaves a dramatic letter for Aunt Han that he definitely overthought, and they ride off into the sunset, leaving the safety of the village behind for the unknown chaos of the martial arts world. Just as they are leaving, a new faction called Ariat Pavilion shows up, and they are not here to make friends. They start burning everything down, turning the tutorial zone into a nightmare. The player realizes the martial arts world isn't just cool sword fights, it is actually kind of traumatizing and messy. They get trapped in a magical illusion array. Ruby, being the absolute MVP, finds a small crack to escape through because she is tiny. The adults are panicking, trying to figure out the focal point of the magic, while the kid is just casually saving the day. Sometimes the smallest player carries the whole team. The boss of the raid reveals herself, mocking them for thinking they could win. She is the focal point of the array, using clones and tricks. Blade and the player have to lock in to defeat her. It is a desperate fight, and the stakes are suddenly way higher than a simple sparring match. The battle ends, but it is bittersweet. The village is wrecked, and the reality of the martial arts world hits hard. The player realizes that being a hero involves a lot more pain than the storybooks promised. They share a drink, solidifying their bond through shared trauma and the loss of their home. We jump to the capital, Kaifeng. The player is wandering around, looking like a total noob in the big city. He stumbles upon a training ground and helps a guy named Big Feng deal with a white bear, showing off his growth since leaving home. He is slowly leveling up his reputation. They visit a creepy clinic where a doctor talks about replacing eyes for a dead woman. It is giving body horror vibes. The doctor drops some philosophy about how grudges in the martial arts world make people blind to everything else, foreshadowing future conflicts and the heavy emotional toll of holding on to the past. Kaifeng is full of scammers. The player runs into people selling fake treasure basins and turtle babies. It is a chaotic marketplace where everyone is trying to hustle. He meets a guy claiming to sell a pot that duplicates money, which is obviously a rug pull, but people are desperate enough to believe it. The player calls out the scam, and a fight breaks out. He gets saved by a mysterious person named Ying Ying, who claims to be a keeper of Wei Yang. She buys him dinner, but then pulls a disappearing act, leaving him with the bill and stealing his coin pouch. He got played by the oldest trick in the book. The player gets involved in a grain shortage issue. He finds fake coins, called Tong coins, circulating everywhere. He tracks down a corrupt merchant and discovers a conspiracy involving a mysterious figure called the Dao Lord. It seems like the economic crisis is manufactured by some powerful players trying to manipulate the market. He catches the girl who scammed him, Little Fu, and interrogates her. She plays the innocent card, crying about following orders. Big Zhao, a local know-it-all, steps in to mediate. They strike a deal to investigate the source of the fake coins together, forming an unlikely alliance born out of necessity and curiosity. The government starts cracking down on Tong coins, arresting anyone holding them. It is a brutal scene showing how the poor get punished for the system's failures. The player barely escapes, realizing the city's prosperity is built on the suffering of the lower class. The vibes in the capital are officially rancid. They decide to crash the heroic assembly, a fancy event for the elite. Big Zhao helps them sneak in, but they do not have tickets. The class disparity is glaring, with rich martial artists partying while the streets are full of starving people. It is a perfect example of how out of touch the upper crust is. We get a flashback about a banquet that never happened 15 years ago. It connects the current struggles of the locals to the past war with the Khitan. The emotional weight of waiting for loved ones who never return becomes a central theme, explaining why the locals are so obsessed with tradition and memory. The player briefly takes a construction job to blend in. He meets a cynical worker who talks about how the beautiful city is just a facade. It is a moment of grounding, showing the player learning to appreciate the real Kaifeng beyond the swords and sorcery. He is seeing the cracks in the foundation. At the assembly, they encounter the Ember of East, a legendary figure who uses a scale to weigh light and heavy. It is a metaphorical performance about the value of life versus money. The player realizes this guy is at the center of the conspiracy and holds the keys to the city's fate. The Ember of East presents the gold-making vessel to the court, claiming it can solve the coin shortage. It is a high-stakes gamble. The player knows it is a trick, but watches as the greedy officials and desperate heroes clamor for a piece of the magic pot. It is mass hysteria fueled by greed. The authorities bust the assembly, claiming the vessel is stolen. The player gets framed because he was holding the bag. It is a classic setup. He is given a soul-breaker pill and forced to solve the case within 7 days or die, raising the stakes immensely. The clock is ticking on his life. The investigation leads them to the Ghost Market, a shady underground world. They need to find a specific mask to get answers. Big Zhao and the player have to navigate strange rules and avoid getting killed by the creepy denizens of the underworld. It is basically the dark web of the martial arts world. They encounter a musician named Master Jiang, who seems to be playing a double game. The music triggers memories or clues. It is revealed that many of these entertainers are actually high-level martial artists in hiding, waiting for the right moment to strike. Everyone in this city has a secret identity. The player starts piecing together the mystery. The gold. Making vessel does not create gold. It is a symbol for printing paper money or controlling the economy. The conflict is ideological, tradition versus innovation, and who gets to control the wealth of the nation. It is economics disguised as magic. They meet an old soldier who is still mentally fighting the war from 15 years ago. He mistakes the player for his comrade. It is a heartbreaking scene that highlights the long-lasting trauma of war and how the government abandons its veterans. The ghosts of the past are very real here. The kid looking for the immortal tree leaf finally gets some closure. The player helps him realize that the story his dad told was a metaphor for coming home. It is a tear-jerker moment that connects the grand political plot back to individual human suffering. The fantasy elements are just coping mechanisms. The kid's mom reveals the truth about the dad's disappearance. He did not abandon them. He died fighting. The leaf was just a way to keep hope alive. The player learns that being a hero isn't about glory. It is about protecting these fragile, beautiful lies that keep people going. We learn that Little Fu and her gang are actually orphans of war, trying to survive by any means necessary. They aren't villains, they are just desperate kids. The player's perspective shifts from judgment to empathy, seeing the system as the real enemy that forced these kids into a life of crime. The player helps pay off a debt for a poor woman using the treasure basin coins. It turns out the basin was just a collection of coins from different eras, representing the history of the people's struggle. It is not magic, it is legacy. The real treasure was the community they built along the way. A side quest involves a famous thief called the Star Stealer. The player uncovers their identity, which turns out to be a mom trying to protect her son from the martial arts world. It mirrors Aunt Han's earlier attempts to shield the player, showing that parents everywhere are just terrified for their kids. They devise a plan to trace the fake coins by flooding the market with them. It is a risky move that draws out the real masterminds. They discover that the ghost market and the government are more intertwined than they thought. The corruption goes all the way to the top. The corrupt official, Lord Zhao, confiscates the coins, indifferent to the people's suffering. He gives a speech about the greater good, which is code for enriching himself. The player challenges his philosophy, asserting that individual lives matter more than abstract state goals. It is a clash of morals. The investigation leads to the furnace, where the fake coins are being melted or made. It is the belly of the beast. The player infiltrates the facility, knowing that this is where the final battle will take place. He is walking straight into the fire to burn the system down. Little Fu and her friends reveal they are the Dao Lord. It is a collective identity for the orphans. They stole the vessel to force the government's hand. It is a stunning twist that recontextualizes the entire crime as an act of rebellion. The kids are leading the revolution. They discover that a fungal root is destroying the city, acting as a metaphor for deep-seated corruption. The real master of grain has been imprisoned, and an imposter is running the show. The player has to save the real official to stop the famine and clear the rot from the inside. The plot expands to international politics. The fake coins were meant to fund a massive warship to fight the Khitan. The engineer behind it is obsessed with technological perfection, disregarding the human cost of his creation. It is the classic debate of progress versus humanity, played out on a massive scale. Flashbacks reveal the deep betrayals among the older generation of heroes. They sold out their morals to survive the regime change. The current crisis is the karma of their past actions coming back to haunt the new generation. The sins of the fathers are definitely visiting the sons. The furnace is set on fire. It is pure chaos. The player and his allies are fighting on multiple fronts, against the soldiers, the corrupt officials, and the raging inferno. They have to save the innocent workers trapped inside while the villain watches the world burn around him. The orphans start singing a song about the moon and the treasure basin. It acts as a signal and a morale boost. The haunting melody echoes through the burning facility, confusing the guards and rallying the resistance. It is a beautiful moment of unity in the face of destruction. They manage to break out of the trap using clever mechanics and sheer will. Little Fu smashes the money tree, symbolizing the destruction of the corrupt system. They are battered and bruised, but they are free. The symbol of greed has been shattered, paving the way for something new. The corrupt lord is cornered. He tries to justify his actions one last time, claiming he is holding the empire together. The player rejects his logic, declaring that a prosperity built on blood is not worth having. It is the ultimate ideological victory, proving that empathy is stronger than efficiency. The resolution reveals the true plan, replacing metal coins with paper money to solve the shortage. It relies on trust, which the government has to earn back. The gold-making vessel was just a catalyst for this economic revolution. The world is changing, and they just pushed it forward. The story ends with the people exchanging their old coins for the new currency. There is a sense of cautious hope. The player has grown from a naive boy dreaming of sword fights to a true hero who understands the complexity of the world. He played the long game and won. Gaming lore is long and confusing, but I break it down every week. Subscribe so you never miss a plot twist or hidden detail. Thanks for watching.